Stepped on the scene, dripped in saline. Whole crew shining, call me Mr. Clean. Came in from the back, walked right to the front. Dancing to the music, smoking on the. Got the women smiling, punk grilling me, looking all dusty. Black Force energy, I don't even drink, but the team pop bottles. Not here for the beef, but the Glock holds hollows. Think I'm cocky, but I think I'm worse. In this flexing like a Mr. Universe.
The next topic we're going to discuss on Boxing Bros is Frank Martin responds to Shakur Stevenson calling him the B word. Okay, and it's not buddy. He did not call him his buddy, by the way. So if you don't know the B word, that's on you. We are not going to say it. But let's just say it's the type of word that causes fights in any park in America. All right, so
when we going to the gym?
Huh?
When are we all going to the gym?
Why are we talking about that right now?
It just dawned on me. Just dawned on me. You know what I'm saying?
All right, well, we'll talk about that.
We gotta have a reunion. We got to have a reunion video for the group.
We'll talk about that after this segment. All right. But during this segment,
oh my God,
Frank. Here's what Frank Martin had to say. This is from his interview with Queens of the Ring. You can subscribe to their channel. You can also follow them on social media. Here's what he said.
He started on Twitter. Then he did the $1 Million Worth of Game podcast. And he had some things to say. Like, how do you feel? Like, what do you have to say about the things that he had to say about you?
It's some bitch ass shit, you know, it's some hoe shit. Like, we grown men, you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, like we could have easily made everything happen, but like the shit he talking, you make the shit personal, you know, calling another man a bitch and this and that. Like, I ain't even cut like that, you know what I mean? I ain't gonna go on wax and fuck my brand up because I'm out here, you know, talking crazy and this and that. You know what I mean? Like, come on, bro, we men, bro. And then you got two of us. You got two brothers, right? And niggas bashing each other. Come on, bro. You ain't even bashing them other folks like that. You feel me? You know, we love to tear each other down. You know what I mean?
So that's what he had to say. He also spoke about the fight and the splits and all that. And here's what he had to say about that. Again, this was during that same interview with Queens of the Ring.
It's very strange to me that you guys made an agreement to fight, but then when it came down to the money talks, they tried to shortchange you with the money. But a day later,
I wouldn't say that the M is shortchanged.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But for the fight, well, no, I would say it's shortchanged. You know, for the magnitude of the fight, yeah, I ain't even finna flex.
Right. It's very strange to me.
All right. So that's what he had to say about everything. So, G, what's your reaction to what Frank Martin had to say about Shakur Stevenson calling him the B word and being shortchanged for the fight?
All right. Well, we already talked about the money component before. So I think what Frank's talking about in regards to this money split and everything is capped. You know, I think the amount was fair for the type of fighter that he is. In regards, though, to Shakur calling him out his name, I actually agree with Frank on this one. And it's not necessarily about him using the strong language. It's the fact that he, in that same interview, he mentioned Lomachenko, but he didn't have the same words for Lomachenko that he had for Frank. You know what I'm saying? Like, he never once called Lomachenko the B word, you know, or, you know, I don't know what the N word equivalent to a Ukrainian, but you know what I mean? Like, he didn't call him out his name when he was talking about Lomachenko, but when he was talking about Frank Martin, it's true. Like, and so I agree with Frank on that one point. It's like it is disheartening to see two brothers talk the way that they was, like the way that Shakur was doing in public. I'm just like, yo, come on, bro, that's unnecessary. So, but I think what Shakur was doing, in a way, was kind of force Frank Martin into the fight. You know, it's kind of like, I'm gonna just disrespect you publicly to force your hand. You know, like, so I think that's the strategy, kind of like the with the Clever Lang approach. You know what I mean? And like Rocky 3. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna be mad disrespectful, and that way I'm gonna get this fight. But at the same time, man, Frank did have that point where it's like, you didn't have to talk to me like that. You know what I'm saying? Especially in public, you know. And the fact that Frank and Shakur behind the scenes were working with each other, trying to get the fight popping, you could respect that from Frank, you know. So, and that's why it was like tough for me to conclude that Frank is a ducker. I still think he's a ducker, but like not in the sense of he's just afraid. I think he's not afraid to get in the ring with Shakur. You know what I'm saying? But he's like, hey, if I'm gonna lose my y'all gotta make it worth my while. And I think that's what he's really negotiating. It's like, all right, you want this win, you're gonna have to work for it, bro. You're gonna have to spice up the pot. And that's where I'm just like, I don't like that part of the game. You know what I'm saying? But I do like the fact that fighters could come together and work behind the scenes with each other to kind of figure out how they can make this happen. But once it goes to the public and we're using like disrespectful words, and you know, we're talking out of each other's names, and if we was like face to face and you want to say the same thing, that's when it's like, all right, now this is theatrics. This is all performative for the media. And I don't like that part. So I can give Frank Martin that one acknowledgement.
Oh, Dollar Bill is here. Let's get it.
All right, man. I'm gonna go off the riff a little bit. I don't like when like these athletes, these young athletes, feel like they gotta be like street. Like, no, for real. Like, I don't understand that. You're an athlete. You wasn't in the trenches. Like I get you hang around these rappers and you hang around these street people, you start thinking that you are street and stuff like that. No, you're an athlete. And you're a great athlete. You're not in the trenches. You're not this big old gangster. You're a professional athlete. So you should conduct yourself like that. You should conduct yourself as the passionate kid who was crying when he lost at the Olympics. You going out here with all this tough talking and calling people bees and disrespecting all these people and all this type of energy. That's the only thing I don't agree with. I believe he's a phenomenal fighter. Nobody messing with him, even though sometimes he bores me to death in there. I'm not taking away from his skills. I just wish that these young fighters would leave the street stuff alone and only focus on being in the gym. You know what I'm saying? Swag and bravado is a different thing. But when you start calling people out of their names and starting to trying to just put yourself as a certain light, and that's when I have beef with. So I don't think that's cool. You should never ever call a man out their name unless you're willing to take it to that next level. And it shouldn't be in that next level because all y'all are athletes. Mm-hmm. It's athletes. Let's keep it in the ring. You know what I'm saying? And keep it respectable. You know, and respectful. That's all I have to say. That's my piece.
No, I think those are all great points. One, what are we talking about? We're talking about Frank Martin rejecting a contract because he felt like he was getting shortchanged. Was he actually getting shortchanged? I don't believe so. Who else is he going to fight that's going to make him $1 million? There are not many people out there. So the fact he was going to make an M, to me, that was a fair deal. Now he's talking about the magnitude of the fight. The magnitude of the fight has nothing to do with you, Frank. The magnitude of the fight has everything to do with Shakur, because Shakur is the one who people are coming to see. You are a great challenge. That's why you're making $1 million. You bring something to the table. That's why you are making $1 million. But you are not the guy that everyone is coming to see. Everyone's coming to see what Shakur can do with you, but you're not the A side. And this is where the issue with boxing comes in. So from the beginning, I want to start by saying I don't think that he was being shortchanged. I think he wasn't making as much as Shakur, and rightfully so. So I want to start off with that. Shakur feels like he turned down a fair deal. So I understand that Shakur is extremely frustrated about that. So when they ask him about it on $1 million worth of game, he goes in. The language he used was unnecessary because I think, like Trill said, he's not talking about someone who did something personal to your family or someone who disrespected your family or someone who crossed boundaries. He was just a dude who rejected a contract because he felt like he deserved more. Now, you can sit there and say, look, I offered him a fair contract. He rejected. I felt like it was cowardly. I feel like he wants to be paid because he doesn't have confidence in himself. You can say all those things. All those things are in bounds, but you start talking about the B and he's the biggest B and all types of stuff. It's like I said, it's sounding like it's some street turf war or some. Come on, man, it's boxing at the end of the day. You guys are boxers. You're professional athletes. So I do think Shakur was wrong for that. But what I would say is Frank Martin tried to sum it up like, oh, it's always us attacking us. But you can't say that after you did the same exact thing during that interview. He called Shakur a B in that interview. He called them, he basically did the same exact thing and then try to flip it like it's always us against us. Well, if you're supposed to be the all-seeing, all-knowing who understands that this is what is always us against us, then you don't engage in that. His thing should have been like, I thought it was foul. I thought he played into what it is, us against us or whatever. You can't say that after you did the same exact thing and then try to end it like that. You should have just stuck to that. And then I would respect it more. But he is right. They are going at each other that way. And they have to ask themselves why that is. That's because we are programmed and conditioned to see our brothers as our enemies. It's just the way it is. It's like Park said in the song Changes, learn to see me as your brother instead of two distant strangers. You know what I mean? That's just the real. So they are conditioned to see each other that way. He doesn't go at Vasily Lomachenko the way he went at Frank Martin. He doesn't go at Vasily Lomachenko the way that he goes at Devin. He doesn't. It's just a fact. But we're conditioned. Our culture is conditioned to be that way towards each other. And where do we get that from? We get that from the music. We get that from the television and the production companies who put that out. And who are the people in those seats in those production companies who benefit from putting that stuff out? So he's right. But the problem is he did the same exact thing because he's conditioned the same exact way. So if we're going to change that, let's change that. That's why I respect the way that TC and Spence conducted business. And even when things got rowdy in their press conference, when TC was trying to explain to the person who was trying to get some attention on him in the crowd, this is what they want us to do. If we act up right now, they're going to say this is why we can't come together and make this event. And then everyone was like, oh, he's corny or whatever. TC understood. And that's when TC said, let me calm down. I feel TC because I'm the same way. I'm going to remove myself. Once I feel myself losing control to the point where I'm going to do something that I can't recover from, I remove myself. And I could tell he was like, yo, I got to stop because I'm about to do something that's going to go against who I am as a person. But anyways, he's right. But still, that doesn't negate the fact that he turned down good money and that he did the same exact thing as Shakur Stevenson when all is said and done. But I wish they would go about it a different way because they are professional athletes. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Remember, you can listen to our podcast on all major streaming services. We are the Boxing Bros.
I feel it in my soul. Can you feel me? My money right. Came so cold in my cell, all them lonely nights.